Welcome back to Capitol Review. I'm Tosin Fakile in for Mark Hall this week. In this election, Virginia went to Kamala Harris and kept Democrat Tim Kaine in the Senate. DC News Now's Corey James talks with Dr. Stephen Farnsworth.
And joining Capitol Review is Dr. Stephen Farnsworth. He is a professor of political science and international affairs and director of the Center for Leadership and Media Studies at the University of Mary Washington. Dr. Farnsworth, thank you so much. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
So first, Virginia State blew for the presidential race and Vice President Kamala Harris winning in the Commonwealth. Was this a surprise to you?
Well, the polls all showed that this was going to be a state where the Democrats had the advantage. The margin was a little bit closer than some of the polls had predicted, but the reality is that even in a difficult environment for Democrats nationally, Virginia shows to be a little more Democratic than the national average.
And in the 10th congressional district race, Suhas Subramanian won there. What is your reaction to that race?
Well, with the new lines that were drawn by the judges after the last census, this was a district where Democrats did have an advantage. And so the dynamic in that race was really one that you would have anticipated. You had a attention on the part of Republicans to this district. This is an area that used to be more Republican than it is now, but the Republican efforts have fallen short now in both the 2022 and the 2024 elections with the changing district lines. It hasn't been helpful to them.
And what impacts could we see for the Commonwealth with President-elect Donald Trump now?
Well, I think that one of the things that you will see in the short term is an answer to the question of exactly what is the plan that the Trump administration wants to put forward regarding federal workers. One of the things that was talked about a lot in that Project 2025 booklet was shrinking the federal government, moving some of the federal government's responsibilities, moving some of the federal government jobs to other parts of the country. So there is a possibility that we could be looking at a pretty tumultuous time for federal employment, federal contractors, and the like. So I think we all need to wait and see what happens. But certainly some of the things that were discussed suggest a much bigger change now than when Trump was first elected in 2016.
And you talk about employment and talk about when Trump was first elected. Back in 2016, work from home really was not an option. Now in 2024, it seems like so many different people have jobs where they have that ability to do that. Do you think that people who live in the DMV area, specifically even in D.C., will start to look at other places and move out of this area because President Trump is now President-elect Donald Trump?
Well, I think a lot of people who are connected with their jobs here. We'll wait and see what happens. You don't really see a significant exodus of career federal employees, no matter who the president is. There'll be some people who retire, sure. There will be some people who decide to find other work. That's always the case. But the biggest shifts are actually going to occur with respect to Hill staff. You know, if you're thinking about the people working for a member of Congress, or if you're thinking about a majority party becoming a minority party in the Senate or the House, though that means that a lot of people who are working on the Hill may be in a very precarious position. There won't be nearly enough jobs for, say, the people who used to work for Democrats to find positions with newly elected Democrats. As you know, the Republicans have gained ground in the Senate, and that means that the majority staff, which is bigger than the minority staff, will now become Republicans. So you will see, in the same way that it may not be a great opportunity for a Democrat on the Hill, it would be a good opportunity for being a Republican, not just with the Hill, but also the administration as well. All those people working for the Biden administration who'd hoped maybe to work for the Harris administration will have to find themselves something else to do.
And there was a lot of anticipation about this particular race taking days to be called. Why do you think it happened so quickly, almost very similar to 2016? And what is your take on Trump winning as well?
Well, the reason that this occurred relatively quickly is because we have improved the mechanisms for counting votes. We also had a more decisive victory for Trump in this election. It wasn't down to a few states as it was in 2020, for example. You needed a few days to make sure that all the absentee and early ballots were counted in places like Arizona and Pennsylvania. The outcomes, the margins were bigger this time, and that created an environment where the answer was known more quickly. What you see with respect to the outcome of this election is a vindication of Donald Trump Trump in a way that didn't really occur in 2016. You have I think, an opportunity for Trump to not having to worry about another election, of course, to do the kind of policy making that he wants to do. It will be interesting to see. We don't know yet the outcome of the House majority. If the Democrats win there, that may put some brakes on what Trump wants to do. But if the Republicans also win the House, then they'll control both chambers and the White House. Then you can see a very, very aggressive opportunity for Republicans to reshape the government in the years to come.
Yeah, I think President-elect Donald Trump said changes are coming, so we'll have to see what happens. Dr. Farnsworth, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.